suppose first of all, will you be watching tonight's Scotland game? Wishing you maybe should be there?
I'll certainly be watching it. Obviously I'm a big football fan. Of course I'll take in any game, whether it's the Scotland game or if it's a East of Scotland game where I can go and watch Tynecastle's next opponent. So I'll certainly be busy on that front, watching a game of football when it's on.
Do you feel that you're close maybe though to maybe getting an opportunity again at that level?
It's a difficult one because I wasn't involved in any of the previous squads, and I think the national team are obviously evolving. They're moving forward. They're looking at how they can qualify for the next campaign. The manager will be assessing the best possible players that he can do that or do that working with. So I think for me that there's no relevance me talking about wishing I can be there or whatever. I think where there is true relevance is about how I'm enjoying my football here at Rangers, and it's a team and a squad that I'm involved with every single day, and I'm enjoying playing them every single week and enjoy working with the manager here and Davey, of course. So I think as much as obviously there's going to be the media talk and the questions going around, I think the only true relevance for me is talking about how I can affect Rangers and how best I can contribute to the club that I'm playing for and love playing for every single week.
Gordon Strachan did say though when the squads come out that you weren't there because he knows what you can do, so does that give you the encouragement that he is watching you and is aware of you?
Well, I'm not too sure he's watching, but I think obviously he's a clever man, he's a top manager. I was fortunate enough to be in a couple of the early squads. I've got nothing but respect for his coaching skills and what he's done with the national team and the progress they've made, and I think all I need to do is just keep doing what I can do best for Rangers, not in the hope that can happen, but more so in the hope that how we can develop and move forward as a club, and how I can please my own manager here and help contribute to my teammates every single day in training and every single match day, and help obviously get ourselves back to where we should be playing our football. And it's a phrase I've been using for 3 years now, and we're not too far away. So I think me doing as best as I can for our fans who have been ever so loyal, been brilliant since the moment I came into this club. So it's about how well I can do for Rangers, and that's the main focus and all I'm thinking about at this moment in time.
Do you think when Rangers do go up to the Premiership, we might see more Rangers players getting international call-ups because it is the top league?
That might be the case. I can totally take that argument where you have to be playing at the top level in your country to be in with a chance of being selected for the national team. I totally take that point. But I think when Rangers do get back to the top flight, for me it's not about looking at that road, it's about looking at how we can keep moving forward, and that's European football, that's Europa League, you never know, on the back of this season, or it's Champions League in a few years to come, and it's about how we move forward and progress here at Rangers, that once we get back. I think obviously the plan was when I chose to stay here was to get the club or play a part in getting the club back to where we should be playing our football, and as I said there, we're not too far away for that, for completing the first set of goals. Once we do get back up, there'll be another set of goals unleashed that myself, my teammates, the manager, coaching staff will be certainly going to attack with all guns blazing. So I think the main priority for me when we get back up is how well I can contribute to Rangers moving forward.
Gordon Strachan said when he announced the squad that you're a little bit unlucky in that there are so many left-sided players to choose from. Do you feel a little bit unlucky as well? Because if you were on the right side, there's perhaps a better chance that you would be in that squad. Potentially,
but I think, yeah, of course, as I just said there, that whether it's being unlucky or not, there's the true relevance to me talking about teams and players has to be here, it has to lie at Rangers, and I think we can get caught up in all this stuff. The squad's been announced, the game's tonight, there's another game next week, let's just go on with it. That's the way I think. I'm not going to be disappointed or lose sleep over not being included in the squad, and I'm not going to spend too much time thinking about if I can get in a squad in years to come. I think the main focus and my main ambitions are to do as well as I can for Rangers and ensure that we can be the best possible team, or I can be the best possible player every time I put on a Rangers strip on a match day. So I think that's where my mind is focused and where my mind will remain focused for the future.
Have you lost any sleep about what went on last Friday in the second half then?
No, I think, again, you look at the over-analysing a defeat and it's obviously common theme here in fact that it's rare in terms of losing, but I think we can over-analyse a defeat. We've just sat and spoke about that in the analysis room. I think we're a heavily critical group when we're obviously the feedback tool that we use half time at the end of a game after training and between drills, we're always overcritical of each other, and that's no by any matter of means meaning it's a dressing room lashing or a heated debate or whatever. The media can blow things out of proportion. That we're always a heavy critical group, we're always a demanding group, that even after wins, after comfortable victories, there'll still be areas that we think we can improve. And the only difference in Friday was that we're off the back of defeat. Of course, the only obvious difference was that, and it's about how we respond to that and how we react to a half that you mentioned there, that we were probably way below our normal levels, having started the game above our levels. So it was probably more on finding the balance and making sure that doesn't happen again. But in terms of moving forward, it's about swallowing it, it's about dealing with the defeat, learning for the defeat, because in every defeat there's a new learning process, and every time we bounce back for defeat really well during that learning process. So Friday night will be no different, and we'll just move on to a hard week's training, a good week's training, which we have done, and into the game at the weekend, which will be another tough fixture.
When you look at the games you've played this season against, maybe unfairly, the better teams, maybe Hibernian, Falkirk, Kilmarnock, St Johnstone in the Cups as well, have you found that there has been maybe a level defensively where you've been tested more than maybe on a week in, week out basis? And was that one of those games perhaps last week?
I'm not too sure. All I know is that prior to that game we were off the back of, as a team, being very good defensively. I think kind of 8, 9, 10 clean sheets out of however many games. I think when the questions were being asked in that previous Falkirk game when we were beat 2-1, it was about that we can't defend. It's about me and Tav marauding forward at the same time. That word maraud, about us going gung-ho, no having enough defensive responsibility when we're attacking. And of course we were aware of that more than anyone, as players and obviously as staff. So when we did analyse it, it was an area that we tried to tighten up in, just a couple of wee tactical moves that since then had worked. And I mean, because Friday happens, do we suddenly all start thinking back to that, and do we start saying that we're not a great defensive team? We're still a team in process, we're still a team that's learning about each other, learning about how we attack, getting the balance right about the numbers in defence when we attack. All these wee details, we as a team and individuals are still learning. And I think the games that you mentioned, of course, when you play against better players, you're going to be tested. But you look at obviously the Dundee game, we keep a clean sheet, and we prove really hard to beat. To name that game, just to isolate that game. But I think we're a team that's learning, and we're going to make mistakes along the way. There's no doubt about that. But we've got the utmost belief in our work ethic that we will keep getting better, because we've got a good attitude and we've got good characters in that dressing room.
Looking a little bit beyond this weekend's game, in April there are 8 matches scheduled. That's quite a busy period. Do you expect there'll be a little bit of squad rotation to help combat that?
Well, I think the manager's used that anyway. I think the manager's been really, really good in terms of using the players, and I think that's been a key reason into why we've been so far as successful as we have been, or as good as we have been. But while I say that, we know that there is a long way to go, and as you said, we're facing a tough month in terms of the volume of games, but we're well looked after here. We've got an outstanding training facility that we can use for our recovery. Great food up the stairs from all the staff in the kitchen room, and the way that we train will obviously be more of a maintenance period throughout this time. There might not be as much training as normal. We'll be recovering, we'll be making sure that going into every single game, and we know that there's bigger games or so-called bigger games within that fixture list that we'll be ready for, and it's about the individual as well. We know that we're well aware of the heavy schedule, so it's about how well we can look after ourselves and be best prepared. And tied in with that, the manager of course will use the squad as he always has done. We've got a tight, lean squad, as the manager will always say. Guys are always ready. I think that's been a huge success story. There's been a number of games where subs have came on and made a very good impact in games, and I think that'll be no different as we attack this tough period of fixtures.